Chosen one, before you scroll, before your mind tries to explain this away, pause. What you are feeling right now is not random, and it is not emotional suggestion. Something is shifting beneath your feet, something far older than governments, older than systems, older than recorded history itself. The Earth's magnetic field is changing, and while scientists measure it with instruments and graphs, heaven is allowing you to feel it. You were never meant to be unaware. You were designed to be sensitive. This is why your sleep has been strange, why your body feels heavy one moment and electric the next, why memories surface without warning, why time feels distorted, why silence feels louder than noise. The magnetic field does not only hold the planet together, it stabilizes consciousness. And when it shifts, those who are spiritually attuned feel it first. That's you, not because you are special in ego, but because you are positioned in assignment. This is not fear, this is recognition. For most of humanity, this shift will pass unnoticed, dismissed as fatigue, anxiety, or coincidence. But for the chosen, it is a signal, a recalibration, a divine adjustment that exposes what is no longer aligned. The earth itself is responding to something higher, and your spirit is responding with it. That pressure in your chest, that restlessness, that urge to withdraw, to cleanse, to simplify, to separate. Those are not symptoms of weakness. They are signs of synchronization. When the magnetic field shifts, false structures lose grip, illusions weaken, old timelines collapse. That is why things that once held you no longer fit. Conversations feel hollow, ambitions feel empty, relationships feel misaligned. You are not losing direction. You are shedding distortion. This is why the attacks intensified right before this moment. The enemy always moves when alignment is near. Confusion, exhaustion, self-doubt, sudden distractions. These were not random struggles, they were resistance. Because when the earth shifts and the chosen remain conscious, something activates that cannot be controlled. You are becoming harder to manipulate, harder to deceive, harder to delay. Your intuition sharpens, your discernment deepens, your tolerance for lies drops, and systems built on suppression feel threatened by that. This is not conspiracy, it is spiritual law. Light destabilizes darkness simply by existing. Hear this clearly. The magnetic shift is not happening to you, it is happening with you. You are not being pulled off course, you are being locked onto it. What feels like disorientation is actually recalibration. What feels like loss is release. What feels like isolation is protection. The earth is adjusting its field to support what is coming next. And your spirit is adjusting to carry what you were always meant to hold. That is why your dreams feel vivid. That is why your emotions surface without warning. That is why old wounds rise, not to hurt you, but to exit you. Nothing unstable can remain in a stable frequency. Do not rush to explain this away. Do not let noise drown out the signal. This moment matters. If you are still here listening, it is because something in you recognizes truth before language forms around it. Stay present. Do not scroll. In the next part, I will explain what this shift is preparing you for and why ignoring it now creates resistance later. If you feel this in your spirit, type "I feel the shift" in the comments, not for engagement, but as alignment. Chosen one, now listen carefully, because what I'm about to say is not symbolic, it is instructional. When the Earth's magnetic field shifts, it does not do so randomly. It moves in response to pressure, imbalance, and realignment at a planetary level. In the same way, your life is entering a phase where pressure is no longer punishment, it is positioning. This is why things that once felt stable suddenly began to crack. Jobs, identities, beliefs, even versions of yourself that you worked hard to maintain. None of them were meant to survive this frequency. The magnetic shift exposes what is artificial. Anything held together by fear, habit, or approval cannot remain intact. That is why you were forced to confront truths you avoided. That is why silence followed chaos. That is why you felt pulled back, just when you thought you were moving forward. You weren't delayed, you were being aligned. Most people resist this phase. They cling to the familiar, they numb themselves, they distract. And because of that, the shift becomes painful for them. But for the chosen, awareness turns disruption into direction. You are not meant to fight this. You are meant to cooperate with it. The earth is recalibrating its protective field, and you are recalibrating your inner one. This is why your boundaries feel sharper, why your tolerance for nonsense vanished, why you suddenly care less about being liked and more about being true. The magnetic field governs orientation, north, south, direction. When it shifts, everything that relies on false direction loses stability. That includes paths you were never meant to walk. This is also why you may have felt moments of intense clarity followed by exhaustion. Alignment costs energy at first. Your nervous system is adjusting. Your spirit is learning how to hold a stronger signal. That fatigue is not failure. It's upgrading. Think of it like this. When a compass is recalibrated, it spins before it settles. You are in the spinning phase. Do not panic. Do not assume you are lost. You are recalculating your true north. And once it locks in, movement becomes effortless. Resistance drops. Doors open without force. Timing accelerates. Here is what most people do not understand. This shift is preparing you for visibility. Not fame, but recognition, influence, responsibility. The reason you were hidden, delayed, or misunderstood before is because your frequency was not yet stable enough to carry what is coming. Exposure before alignment destroys people. That is why heaven protects by delaying. The earth itself is adjusting to support higher frequency consciousness, and you are part of that wave. That means your words will carry weight. Your presence will disrupt rooms. Your decisions will ripple outward. And that is why this phase required stripping you down first. Pay attention to what has been leaving your life without struggle. Those exits are not losses, they are evacuations. What stays now is what can survive the next level, and what comes next will not require you to chase it. It will recognize you. The magnetic field does not ask metal to find north, it pulls it. In the same way, alignment will pull what belongs to you once you stop resisting the shift. In the next part, I'm going to tell you what you must do right now to avoid interference, confusion, and spiritual burnout during this recalibration, and why one wrong reaction can delay everything. Stay here. If this resonates, comment, "I'm aligning," so your spirit confirms what your mind is catching up to. Chosen one, this is where precision matters. During a magnetic shift, both planetary and personal, reaction is more dangerous than resistance. Many people think alignment requires constant action, explanation, or decision-making. It does not. In this phase, over-movement creates distortion. That's why you felt the urge to speak, to clarify, to confront, to prove. And yet every time you almost did, something stopped you. That pause was not fear, it was protection. Right now, your primary assignment is stillness with awareness, not withdrawal, not isolation. Stillness that listens. The Earth's magnetic field recalibrates gradually, not violently, because sudden movement would destabilize everything dependent on it. Your life is mirroring that intelligence. If you force answers, you introduce noise. If you rush decisions, you misalign timing. This is why impulsive choices feel off lately. Your intuition is sharper than ever, but only when you let it lead before logic speaks. Here is the warning most chosen ones miss. During a shift, false guides become louder. Old habits, familiar voices, even well-meaning people will try to pull you back into outdated roles. They will question your silence. They will misunderstand your distance. They may accuse you of changing. Do not correct them. Explanation is a low-frequency act when alignment is happening at a high level. What is truly aligned does not need defending. It reveals itself through outcome. You may also notice strange emotional echoes, memories resurfacing, dreams intensifying, sudden waves of grief or joy without context. This is not regression, it is integration. The magnetic field affects memory, navigation, and rhythm. Your spirit is integrating lessons that were once fragmented. That is why closure is happening internally rather than externally. You are no longer meant to relive the lesson to prove you learned it. You are meant to embody the wisdom and move on. This is also why discernment is critical now. Not everything that feels intense is meaningful. Not everything that demands attention deserves energy. During alignment, priority reveals itself by calm, not urgency. What is meant for you will feel steady, even if it's unfamiliar. What is misaligned will feel dramatic, even if it's familiar. Trust that distinction. It is your compass recalibrating. Let me be clear about what delays chosen ones at this stage. Explaining yourself to people who cannot hear you, re-entering conversations you already outgrew, making decisions from fear of missing out, seeking confirmation instead of trusting recognition. You are not meant to convince anyone right now. You are meant to stabilize. Once stabilization completes, movement becomes undeniable. That is when opportunities appear without chase. That is when resistance dissolves. That is when people suddenly see you without you changing anything. The Earth's magnetic shift is not destroying direction. It is correcting it, and so is your life. In the next half, I will explain how this shift directly affects your purpose, timing, and calling, and why what happens next will feel sudden, but perfectly placed. Do not leave. If you feel this deeply, comment, "I'm steady," and remain present. Chosen one, now we move into the part most people never understand until it happens, the moment after recalibration. This is where the shift stops feeling subtle and starts feeling inevitable. Up to now, everything has been internal: emotional reordering, mental clarity, spiritual sensitivity. But what the Earth's magnetic field does next is the same thing your life is about to do. It locks into a new trajectory, and once that happens, going backward becomes impossible. This is why time has felt strange. Days feel compressed, nights feel heavier, and certain moments feel loaded, like something important is hovering just beneath the surface. That sensation is not anxiety, it is anticipation without language. Your spirit knows what your mind cannot yet articulate. The field has shifted. Your internal compass has already adjusted. Now reality must catch up. Here is the truth few say plainly. After alignment, exposure follows. Not danger, visibility. When the magnetic field stabilizes, navigation systems recalibrate. Signals lock in. Positions become clear. In the same way, once your inner alignment completes, your position in the world becomes undeniable. People will respond differently to you, not because you changed your behavior, but because your presence now carries coherence. Coherence cannot be ignored. You may already be noticing this. Certain people pulling away without explanation, others suddenly reaching out after long silence, situations resolving themselves without effort, conflicts evaporating instead of escalating. These are not coincidences. These are systems updating around you. Anything that relied on your confusion, overgiving, or self-doubt cannot function in this new frequency, so it either adapts or disconnects. And here is the part you must hear carefully. Not every loss during this phase is a loss. Some exits are corrections. Some endings are releases that protect you from future misalignment. The Earth doesn't apologize when it shifts tectonic plates. It moves because balance requires it. You are allowed the same authority. Your purpose is not something you must search for anymore. Searching implies distance. What's happening now is revelation, not discovery. Your purpose is emerging because the interference is gone. That's why clarity feels quiet instead of dramatic. True direction rarely shouts, it settles. You may also feel a strange confidence paired with humility, not arrogance, not urgency, just a grounded knowing. I don't need to rush this, it's already in motion. That is alignment speaking. That is what happens when internal truth and external timing finally agree. Be aware of this next sign. Opportunities will arrive disguised as responsibility, not excitement. Purpose does not always arrive as joy first. It arrives as readiness. You will be asked to step into something before you feel fully prepared. That is not a test of skill. It is a confirmation of trust. You would not be asked if you were not already capable. This is also why patience is now a form of power. Those who rush after a magnetic shift lose accuracy. Those who wait with awareness gain precision. Precision is what separates chosen ones from those who merely awaken and drift. Let me say this clearly, because it matters. You are not late. You are not behind. You are not missing anything meant for you. The shift did not happen to speed you up. It happened to aim you correctly. Chosen one, this phase is not about acceleration. It is about stabilization, and stabilization is where most people unknowingly sabotage what was divinely set in motion. After a magnetic shift, there is always a brief window where forces are still settling. During this time, reactions matter more than actions. This is why you are being asked to observe more than you speak, to listen more than you explain, and to wait without doubting. The universe is not testing your patience to frustrate you. It is testing your discipline to stay aligned when momentum hasn't fully materialized yet. Here is the mistake many make at this stage. They confuse silence with stagnation. They assume that because nothing dramatic is happening outwardly, nothing is happening at all. But in truth, this is when the deepest rewiring occurs. The Earth's magnetic field does not complete its recalibration in one violent motion. It settles in layers. So does your destiny. What feels like stillness is actually precision being installed. You may feel less emotional than before, less reactive, less eager to prove anything. That is not numbness. It is integration. The old version of you survived by intensity. The new version of you moves by clarity. Intensity drains, clarity directs. This is why your energy now feels quieter, but heavier, calmer, but more authoritative. People sense it, even if they cannot name it. Pay attention to what no longer triggers you. That is one of the clearest indicators of alignment. When old wounds stop demanding reactions, it means they no longer control direction. This is crucial, because purpose cannot be carried by unresolved emotional gravity. The magnetic shift removes that pull. What once dragged you back now releases you forward. At this stage, temptation will not appear as obvious distraction. It will appear as premature certainty. You will feel the urge to announce plans too early, to lock yourself into decisions before the field finishes stabilizing, to explain your direction to people who are no longer meant to influence it. Resist that urge. Silence here is not secrecy, it is containment. What is still forming needs space, not commentary. Another sign you are in the stabilization window. Your intuition sharpens, but your tolerance for noise drops. Crowded conversations feel draining. Surface-level interactions feel heavy. This is because your internal frequency has refined. Not everyone can meet you there, and that is not a judgment. It is physics. Different frequencies do not clash. They simply fail to interact. Let this be clear. You are not meant to isolate, but you are meant to curate. Who you allow access to your thoughts, emotions, and plans now directly affects how smoothly this transition completes. Think of it like tuning an instrument. Too many hands touching the strings throws it off. One steady hand brings harmony. You may also notice synchronicities returning, but quieter ones. Not dramatic signs, but precise confirmations. A sentence overheard at the exact moment you needed clarity. A delay that saves you from the wrong commitment. A sudden sense of not yet that later proves wise. These are not accidents. They are course corrections happening in real time. Here is what to do now. Anchor yourself in routine. Stability invites manifestation. Move your body. Physical grounding helps energetic alignment settle. Speak less about what's coming. Let results introduce themselves. When confusion appears, pause instead of forcing answers. And here is what not to do. Do Do not revisit old identities out of nostalgia. Do not seek validation from people who benefited from your past uncertainty. Do not rush timelines that are still calibrating. You are not waiting for permission anymore. You are waiting for completion. Completion is subtle, but when it arrives, movement becomes effortless. Doors open without strain. Decisions feel obvious. Resistance dissolves instead of fighting back. This is not the beginning of your purpose. This is the moment your purpose becomes operational. If you feel this settling inside you, comment, "I'm steady," and stay with me. The final part reveals how this planetary shift ties directly into the role you are meant to play next, and why very few will be positioned to step into it when the moment arrives. Chosen one, what happens next will not announce itself loudly, but it will rearrange your reality decisively. This is the moment most people misunderstand. They expect destiny to arrive with chaos, fireworks, or dramatic confrontation. But when alignment is real, when the magnetic field has finished recalibrating, change enters quietly and stays permanently. That is what is happening to you now. The Earth's magnetic field does not shift to confuse direction, it shifts to correct navigation. And in the same way, your life is no longer circling lessons, it is orienting toward execution. This is why your tolerance for repetition has vanished. You can no longer replay the same conversations, entertain the same doubts, or justify staying in places that drain you. The internal compass has locked in. Here is the truth very few are told. Chosen ones do not feel excited right before purpose activates. They feel calm. Calm is the signal of readiness. Excitement seeks stimulation. Calm holds authority. That calm you feel, sometimes mistaken for boredom or detachment, is actually command. It is the nervous system realizing it no longer needs to stay alert for danger. You are not bracing anymore. You are standing. And because of that, the environment around you will begin to respond differently. Opportunities will stop chasing you emotionally and start finding you structurally. You won't feel pulled, you'll feel placed. Invitations will come without pressure. Decisions will feel less emotional and more obvious. This is magnetic alignment in motion. There is also something important you must understand now. Once alignment completes, resistance changes form. Before, resistance attacked you directly, confusion, fear, doubt, chaos. Now, resistance will try to delay you through comfort, familiar routines, safe distractions, old versions of success that no longer fit your scale. You will feel moments where you could stay comfortable and still be okay. That is the final test, not of survival, but of expansion. The magnetic field does not settle so the planet can remain the same. It settles so evolution can proceed without collapse. You are being asked to move when the opening appears, not impulsively, but decisively. This is why timing matters so much now. When the signal comes, it will not repeat itself loudly. It will feel like a quiet certainty that does not argue. You will know what to say yes to. You will know what to walk away from. You will not need consensus. Alignment eliminates negotiation. Pay attention in the coming days to these signs. Things resolving without effort. People revealing their true position without confrontation. A strong "this is enough" feeling around old struggles. Sudden clarity about what no longer deserves your energy. These are not endings, they are releases. You are not losing direction, you are gaining precision. The Earth's magnetic field shift affects navigation systems because it resets reference points, and so does your awakening. Your reference point is no longer fear, survival, or approval. It is truth, and truth does not rush. It arrives. This is why you were able to hear this message. Not everyone can, not everyone feels the shift. Many will feel disoriented, anxious, unsettled, but chosen ones feel grounded, alert, quietly ready. That readiness is rare, and it is required for what comes next. You are not meant to warn everyone. You are not meant to explain everything. You are meant to move when alignment completes, and it is completing now. If you've felt this resonance, not emotionally but deeply, comment, "I'm aligned," not as a declaration for others, but as an anchor for yourself. Stay present, stay grounded, stay steady. The field has shifted, your path is clear, and what unfolds next will not be chaotic. It will be inevitable. Chosen one, this is where the message locks into place. Not emotionally, not symbolically, energetically. What you are experiencing now is not curiosity, not imagination, not coincidence. It is confirmation, and confirmation never arrives early. It arrives when resistance has exhausted itself. That is why this moment feels still instead of dramatic. Stillness is the signature of alignment. Chaos belongs to preparation. Silence belongs to authority. Understand this clearly. Nothing has gone wrong in your life. Nothing was wasted. Nothing was delayed. Every detour, every stall, every unanswered prayer was not absence. It was containment. You were being held until the internal structure matched the external responsibility. Power arrives only when the vessel can hold it without fracturing. That is why the pressure came first. That is why isolation preceded clarity. That is why confusion sharpened discernment. The magnetic field does not stabilize until the core is ready, and neither do you. From this moment forward, your intuition will stop asking questions and start issuing instructions. You will notice this shift immediately. Decisions that once felt heavy will feel neutral. Situations that once drained you will feel distant. You will not feel compelled to convince, prove, or explain. When alignment completes, explanation becomes unnecessary. Movement becomes enough. There will be people who feel you pulling away without you doing anything differently. That is not arrogance. That is frequency separation. When the field shifts, objects that are no longer aligned simply fall out of orbit. Do not chase them. Do not grieve them. Do not attempt to recalibrate what is no longer meant to rotate with you. Release is not rejection, it is precision. You may also notice something else. Your fear will no longer shout. It will whisper. That whisper is not danger. It is the final residue of an old survival pattern dissolving. Do not obey it. Do not fight it. Let it pass. The chosen do not eliminate fear. They outgrow its authority. Courage is not loud. It is steady. And steadiness is now your default state. In the coming phase, manifestation will not respond to urgency. It will respond to coherence. If something is meant for you, it will align naturally. If it requires force, persuasion, or anxiety, it is not aligned with your current trajectory. You are no longer learning lessons. You are executing design. This is why the Earth's shift matters. This is why your shift matters. You are no longer reacting to life. You are orienting it. And orientation changes outcomes faster than effort ever could. Here is your final instruction. Quiet, precise, and non-negotiable. Move when clarity arrives, not when emotion peaks. Speak less, observe more, protect your energy without announcing it. Trust what feels calm, not what feels urgent. Allow life to meet you halfway. You are not here to rush destiny. Destiny is already moving toward you. And when things begin to happen, because they will, do not be surprised by how ordinary they look on the surface. Alignment rarely looks mystical to outsiders. It looks inevitable. That is how you will know this is real. If you've stayed with this message to the end, it is because something in you recognized itself, not the personality, not the ego, the blueprint. The field has shifted. The signal is stable. The path is active. Remain steady. What unfolds next does not require belief, only presence.